Hello and welcome to another League of Legends commentary. So today we're going to be playing Xin Zhao again, and playing a bunch of Xin Zhao games. I think I might switch it up after another couple games to a different jungler. I like also playing a Mumu and Fiddlesticks and a couple other junglers I like a lot. So we're going to do traditional start. Start out start out Wolves, then go to blue, then go down to race red, and then at this point I usually gank either mid lane or bot lane if I'm on blue side. And it should be, yeah, it's on colorblind mode. Let me just double check. Yep. For bot lane, or potentially I do golems if both of those lanes are pushed. So that's usually my plan. Here, another thing that you should make sure you do is make sure that the top laner doesn't have to tank for your blue. So that just got to be closest to whoever blue is, the closest person attacking blue. So just make sure you do that. I make a mistake here and level up my dash, my E, because the reason that's a mistake is because I'm going to take more damage from creeps, and I don't think it's really going to increase my clear time. So that's definitely a mistake. Let's take a look at their team comps. So they have a really good split pusher, that's TF, so they're going to want to avoid team fights, just concerning what he can do. They have Rumble, he's really good in team fights, he's got a really nice AoE ult that can, hit a lot of people. And, so poke, and definitely good anti-engage. So like when people engage on him, he can use his flamethrower, he can use his ulti and slow people down, and he's just very good at that. They have Lee Sin, he's a great engager, like he can dive into people with his Q and escape away with his safeguard W and slow people down and kick people. It's pretty good. He's pretty good in team fights. He does get a little bit weaker late game. Graves does a lot of damage, he's strong early game. He's just a basic auto attacker. And Morgana, who's really good in team fights. So that's what their team is aiming to do. They definitely want to split push and then try potentially with TF, and then try to get a nice team fight with a 4v4, because they are very, very strong abilities in team fights. We have an assassin. She is good at picking people off. Ashe is really good at engaging in team fights, so that's just something to consider with her. Here I'm going to try to get in on Graves, but when I see the shield go down, I decide not to flash because I'm only going to trade for their flash. Usually I'd say it's definitely worth it to trade a jungler's flash for a lane flash, because there's just more potential for them to use the lane flash. So if you can do that, it's usually a good idea. But obviously, that being said, you don't want to give up flashes for free. One problem with going this way is if TF uses his cards, he can just stun you and prevent you from getting to the creeps. So you got to make sure that when that's happening, you pay attention. So there I saw him use both of his cards and also his, oh, I misclicked there. Yeah, so I missed like 2 CS because I misclicked. That's a pretty big mistake. Anyway, as I was saying before, they want to use their cards to prevent you from running up this way if you're coming this way. So you should wait until they use the cards so you can get in faster. Or if you don't want to do that, you should just go around so you don't take free damage. I really want to gank, but there's not really anything to gank, so I'm just forced to cover lanes, and this kind of sucks when you're a jungler. When all your lanes start losing, you just have to cover all of them, and you can't like help anyone out, so it's like pretty frustrating, because you like definitely want to do that if possible. It's common for people to tell you to backping when you're farming under the turret, and you should just ignore them when they're doing that. You need that CS, and it's just going to get denied on the turret, so there's nothing wrong with you CSing under the turret. And if, they can just tell you, like, I want you to push the lane so it resets, or I want you to freeze the lane. And those are things that you can do. Those are reasonable requests. Just telling you to lose CS for no reason, you should just ignore that. So the next item I get is Madred's Razor and Boots of Speed. I'm trying out different item builds, and I think I tried out different item builds on this game. No, it was the next game. So this is like my traditional Madred's Sunfire Cape sort of build. But I'll be showing you guys some different item builds. One thing you should definitely make sure you do is keep a note of when TF is and isn't in the lane if you're playing against him. So if you see him roam, then you should immediately let your lane know that that's happening. And if people would just play cautious when that happens and mid pushes up the tower, then TF becomes a much weaker hero. So you have to understand who you're playing against and play accordingly. So again, all my lanes are dying, so all I can do right now is farm the lanes. And one mistake I definitely made was, if this situation is happening, you have to understand that you're probably gonna have to play towards the late game. So that means just farming nonstop. If you're, for instance, if you're the jungler, or let's say like the jungle and top and mid were feeding, then as bot lane, AD carry, I would know that, okay, we're probably not going to win this game until the late game, and I really need to buy scaling items like, you know, Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, things like that. Also, another great choice is Last Whisper. All these things, these are scaling items. They make you a lot stronger in late game, whereas other items make you stronger mid game. So you should definitely be thinking, okay, I need to buy late game items, and I need to make sure I try to farm as quickly as possible. I mean, you do need to help out your lane when possible, but you are definitely need to sort of gear yourself towards the later game. I don't give Eve any of the blues this game because she keeps feeding, so it's just not worth it to give it to her. I think it's fine to not give blues to your mid laner if they're feeding. Another thing is when you are ganking, if you want to gank top, it's pretty likely that it's going to be warded. So, like right here, if you see that ward go down, you can sneak in through this jungle and come in and attack top. If I can get on TF, I can do a lot of damage and potentially force him out of the lane, so that's what I'm just waiting for. And I didn't time it quite right. I should have timed it with him moving forward, and I tried to do that, but I didn't have quite enough time. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Force TF low so he could, you know, potentially help top, or, you know, gank and things like that. And there's not a lot I can do. Everything's warded. I can potentially come around the back, so when I was talking about come back through here, around the back, and then attack him like that. But he's now warded this Tribush, and bot is pushing, so I was telling bot that I was going to come gank bot as soon as they pushed in, but you know they wisely backed off and didn't go for it. And Eve is also on our team, so I think if you're playing against an Eve, you should recognize that and buy pink wards. Regular wards are not nearly as effective if Eve is good, so you should definitely consider that. And I see Eve here, so I try to get Eve to go in, but she backs out, which is pretty unfortunate. And I try to flash in, and Lee Sin kicks me away. I definitely wanted to get in on TF, but I wasn't in range to do that, so that's unfortunate. At this point, we could have possibly done Dragon, and I think that's definitely what we should have done there. We knew TF ulti was down, and we also knew that Lee Sin had used his ult, and so that would definitely have been a good idea. And I'm trying to get in on TF. I was trying to avoid tower hits, and as soon as he ignites me, I run away. Unfortunately, their mid lane came up, and I tried to dash to make sure that they missed my. Oh man, that just missed. It's unfortunate. So tried to dash so that I could actually do something with my death. Unfortunately, Riven, he walked the wrong way, so it turned out pretty poorly for us, and that's just bad execution on our team's part. If you're playing Ashe, you shouldn't try to hit too many of these long range arrows. You should save it for your lane. You shouldn't just give up your arrow, because now they have to be a lot more cautious in this lane, and they could potentially die, or they give up a kill. Again, as I said before, this is often going to be warded. So if you're on red side, you can do the same trick as I was talking about before, where you come back down through here and then gank this. And they 4-man gank bot, and you just have to understand that. And again, the problem with the arrow, using the arrow before, that TF wants to do this, and this is their strategy. And obviously, sometimes it's not going to work, but understand that that's what they're trying to do. He's trying to split push, or come to a lane that's overextended and get a kill. So you should understand that and push really hard against TF whenever you see them leave. Or potentially Eve could have followed him, but he's pretty weak, so it wouldn't have been that great. But yeah, you just have to understand that that's what's going on. Evelyn should have fought here, especially after I knocked back TF, but she chose not to. That was an easy kill, really. And I see the arrow coming in, and it just barely misses TF, but I go in after him. And we should have gotten this kill right here, but Riven attacked the wrong person. So I think, Eve had to do this nonsense, basically, and I think she dies for that too. So that was just our team not really paying attention to what was going on and not attacking the right person. So you got to make sure you do that. It's very important. So again, as I said, the best thing that I can be doing is farming, and I'm not doing a great job of it this game. I have the second most CS on our team, which is like pretty sad, especially since I'm the jungler, but like I should have more than Ashe, really. But what's been happening is I've been trying to help lanes too much that I can't really help. So you have to understand that always trying to gank as a jungler isn't always the best. It might be what your team wants you to do because it feels like you're doing the most, but sometimes, you just have to try to play to the late game and get a win that way. Now, I have two plans here, either ganking mid, trying to get TF, or ganking top. And since Eve doesn't seem to want to fight, she went back. I tell Riven that I'm going to come around the back. So this is the same thing that Lee said did to our bottom lane before. So here, let's just slow it down. And we have wards here so we can see which way they're going. And he goes up this way, so as long as Riven stays with him, there I messed up. I wanted to ulti before I auto-attacked to knock him back, so that was just a mistake on our part. And we need to focus this guy down as quickly as possible so that TF can't pour it in. So that was a mostly well-done fight. My mistake was autoing. And the other thing that you saw was that when he started, I was here, and he tried to go back down this way, and I didn't, run around this way. I went back down this way. So you can, if you cut them off the right way, then you can easily secure kills that you might have messed up beforehand. So I wanted gank mid, but unfortunately this keeps happening. Lee Sin keeps going bot, and I should probably have gotten some wards for this spot right here, so that there was no way that he could keep getting into our jungle and protected our lanes that way. I go down here to prevent our tower from taking too much damage, and I also didn't think that Lee Sin was going to do dragon, so I should have actually come to dragon, and it would have been an easy still and probably a kill on Lee Sin. But so basically my vision was I saw this ward here. If it was here, it would have been a lot better because I would have known that that was happening, but I actually did see him going this way, and I should have followed him towards the dragon pit. I didn't think he was going to do it because that was very risky, and he didn't need to do that, but it definitely would have been worth it to follow him to dragon, because they basically got a free dragon in there. Alright, so just continuing to farm and get more CS. There's not a lot I can do. This has been warded the entire time, so the only way I can come gank is through this, and they've warded this too, so it's really hard for me to get into a gank. You can see they have 4 wards here, and one of them just died, and it's just very difficult for me to get in there. Another thing that's good to do is when you have a laner that roams, like Eve or TF, you should cover their lane so that your team continues to get XP and gold. As soon as I see oh man, yeah. So what happened there was I basically did enough damage to get a kill on Lee Sin, but I decided not to follow him because I didn't think I would be able to catch him. Lee Sin is very good at escapes, and he didn't have any wards, so that wasn't going to happen. But like I should have actually didn't want to chase him. So here I'm just dodging his skill shots. But before, like a second before, you saw that I got Lee Sin low enough to get him a kill, and I didn't like chase him all around the map. I could have potentially done it, but it would have cost me a lot of gold and XP, so that's why I didn't do that. I see TF here, and I should have gone on him. TF doesn't have, like, if you just take a look at his hit points, he has like 1300. Yeah, it's a little hard to see, but he doesn't have that much health, and I do a lot of damage. So if you're a bruiser, you can usually beat most of the AD or AP carries. So you should try to play aggressively on them. You can see that he has like more items than me, but I still could have beaten him in a fight if he tried to face me. Alright, just speeding it up. Okay, yeah, so this game I do try to get different items. And I think this is a really good choice. If you just get Youmuu's Ghost Blade, it's really quite a strong item. And it does quite a bit of damage and lets you stick to targets. So it's actually quite good. And Avarice Blade lets you get more gold, which is something you definitely need in the jungle. You can see that I'm falling behind in gold if you look at this tab down here, compared to, whoops, oh, that's interesting. Compared to the other team. Here we're going around the back for a gank. This should be an easy kill. I just have to get my Q off, and we focus him down quite well. We can't keep going, so I should have just turned around on their, what's it called? This person. Morgana. As soon as I saw her, because she's easy to kill. If we focused her down, that would have been ideal. And I also shouldn't have trusted my teammates to do stuff. And the third thing I did wrong there was I flashed back this way when I should have just run back and tried to flash over this wall. So you should also make sure you flash in the best way possible. Sometimes you need to flash right away, but that wasn't the case. It's much better to flash over a wall, so the enemy has to either burn a flash or let you get away. Okay, so I'll speed this up a little bit. I'm just continuing to try to farm. You can see that I do have a fair amount of gold. I actually have the most on my team, and it's still like significantly less than everyone else. So if I had like 8k gold, I would be much stronger, and also if I had been building later game items. The other thing we should be doing is grouping to deal with TF. TF is pretty weak in team fights. The only problem with that at this point is that their team fights are going to be so much stronger than ours because they're stronger than us. I'm doing a slightly risky play, which is to do Dragon, and we kind of need to do this because we're pretty far behind. I did ward on both sides to make sure that they couldn't, sneak up on us to get it. So we do get the Dragon. Unfortunately, we don't stick together, and we all knew that this was happening. See, Eve splits off there. That's definitely the wrong choice there. And we all get caught and die, basically. So that was just a big mistake. I try to kill TF after that, but I'm not able to succeed doing that, and Riven dies as well. So, that just kind of sucked. Lee got a sweet penta kill. But that was the right play. It just... our team didn't stick together and got picked off one at a time. We could have turned on them because they were spread out. You saw that Rumble was separated from the rest of their team. So if you're getting chased, try to keep in mind that you can turn on them when they, for instance, when they come into this tri-bush. This is a great time to turn on them and get a kill. All right, so let's speed it up a little bit. I have my Ghost Blade, and it's a good item. You have to make sure you activate it. So activatable items are very strong, but they do nothing when you don't activate them. So if you're not confident that you're going to activate it, I would suggest that you not buy them, basically. But once you start getting in the habit of that, it's very strong. So for instance, another thing is like potions. A lot of people don't activate potions in fights and stuff like that because they're trying to keep track of all the things that are going on. But they can make you a lot stronger and do quite a bit in team fights. So if you ever think like, oh, I almost like that guy got out with 6 health, or this team fight was so close, I just barely died. Here, like, the game's over, but I was hoping I could get a kill on him, and he doesn't get knocked out for some reason, and he's pretty like easily able to kill me because you saw that my burst took him about to this much health, and then all my stuff was on cooldown. So this is what building survivability does. That's an example of that. Anyway, the game is pretty much over. They're just going to push in. Our team has given up. Ashe and Leona are trying to do stuff, and everyone's just dying. So it's basically the same as a forfeit. So I'm just going to speed this up. And our team hopefully surrenders here. Nope. I guess we're just waiting for them to clear out the last of this. So this was just an annoying way to end the game with a surrender. We could have still won if we had a fifth member and we're playing correctly, but that doesn't always happen. It's like a little frustrating to play games like this, but and I think after you play them, it's always a good idea to take a break, because even if you don't feel super frustrated after them, you're probably going to be a little bit annoyed. So that's what I suggest doing if you play games like this that happen. It was 4-28. Everyone, all the lanes lost, and we just couldn't do anything that game. So it sucks, but this happens in solo queue.